I'm going to go over fatal newbie mistakes to avoid for new players in Elden Ring or just Dark Souls games in general. Let's get into it. First off, number 1, killing NPCs. By killing NPCs, you pretty much block yourself from most of their quest lines and lots of their rewards. For instance, a lot of new players, they come out of the gate here, they see this guy, he calls them no GF having maidenless, whatever have you, and they just decide to club him to death. Well, that's not a good idea. Almost never is killing NPCs worth it. You don't get special endings, you don't get special storylines unlocked or alternate paths. If anything, killing this guy gives you some crappy items, just the bloody fingers that you get anyway from him later on for free. Killing him blocks off getting to an in-game area very early on that's great for rune farming, so killing NPCs, it's just really honestly not worth it, and of course sometimes the NPCs do fight back, making them pretty difficult. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and club them to death there, and cause you a maidenless runt, whatever, and all you get is some bloody fingers for it. Again, killing NPCs, shut up already, hurry up and die, is absolutely not worth it. Do not kill the NPCs. These guys are dead forever. You have to start a new game now if you didn't back up your save. So imagine all of that progress on your character gone to waste because you accidentally killed an NPC. Number 2 is fighting everything you come across, everything you see. You don't need to kill everything. Like you see this tree sentinel here, I don't need to fight him. As a brand new character, I have no business fighting this guy at all. Of course, you know, my character here is pretty overpowered, using a very high level club. So you won't have nearly as much success as I am here, especially dealing this amount of damage. As a new character, you're going to deal diddly squat to this guy. He's going to kill you in 1 to 2 hits. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to have fun. You could sit here for an hour and kill this guy, and look, a golden halberd, whoop-de-doo. It's a really crappy weapon that's used in almost no builds. It's used for an early game buff, but you can get that same exact buff by just going right here and killing a much easier dude. There's no reason to kill every single thing you see. And this includes wildlife, like these sheep things or rams or whatever they are over there. Just random trash mobs. It's a huge waste of time to just run around and kill every single moving object in the game, alright? So don't waste your time fighting everything. Just pick your battles, fight what you need to, what you want for the drops, and what you need to progress the story. Number 3 is not getting spirit ashes. I made this mistake myself when I played. I played my first like 20 hours completely cut off from the internet with no information whatsoever to have a fresh experience. And what did I do? I didn't know how to use spirit ashes. I didn't have spirit ashes. I didn't have the spirit ash calling bell. For those that don't know, you start the game at first step, you'll then go to Church of Ela, and then you'll go to Gatefront. That's where you get your mount. And as soon as you have that mount, you go back to the Church of Ela, which a lot of players may not know to come back here. There's going to be a woman sitting on top of here. She's like a white witch character. Her name is Ronnie, and she will give you a spirit calling bell and 3 wolves to summon, which is incredibly helpful throughout the entirety of the game. If you miss her for some reason, you have to get the spirit calling bell over here at the table of Lost Grace. Well, the round table. There's a vendor that sells it. But other than that, going through the game without summons is just pain. It's just pure misery. Not something I recommend that you do unless you're like a hardcore player. Now, number 4 is not getting the craft kit. You should absolutely get the craft kit. There is a vendor, again, this is all Church of Ela stuff, right here at the vendor. You're going to talk to him. He sells what's called the crafting kit. You have to buy this. It's 300 runes. It's really cheap. Okay, once you have the crafting kit, when you just open your start menu, you can go to item crafting and you can craft all this, well, not all of this stuff right away, but you will eventually unlock the ability to craft all of these wonderful items. And they are absolutely, they're amazing to have in all sorts of different situations. The sleep pots are amazing for duo bosses. There's just so much good stuff here. You absolutely don't want to miss this, and you definitely have to get that crafting kit to be able to do it. I recommend every player gets the crafting kit. Number 5 is not getting the Flask of Physick. I completely missed this item in my first 20 hours without internet. And let me tell you, it's right here at the 3rd Church of Marika. It'll be right here in this little bowl, okay? And then all you gotta do is equip it, and you can chug potion. It's basically a one-time use potion per rest that gives you all sorts of effects. Let me show you some of them. You start out with this one that restores half your total HP, so it's basically a free heal. You can get one that boosts your max HP, restores HP over time, restores FP, that's focus points, stamina regeneration, a boost in strength, dexterity, faith, intelligence, resistances, magic damage increases, stagger increases, more frames on your dodges, okay, all sorts of amazing, wonderful things. This is absolutely part of everyone's main build, and it's not something that you want to miss or forego or forget about. So as a newbie, you should this should be like your third thing that you do. You just come here and get it. Number 6 is not unlocking the round table. You can unlock this extremely early on, okay, and I'm going to show you how. You just go to the Third Church of Marika, and right behind it here in this little water stream, there's a little teleport right here. When you take the teleport, it's going to shoot you all the way across this zone, all the way to the top here, to the Bestial Sanctum. Once you rest here at this grace, or any grace really in this entire little zone, you will be visited by your maiden, which you got over here at Gatefront, and she will take you to the round table. And the reason you go to the round table is because it's kind of like an all-in-one little area to gather your things, sort of. There's a vendor that sells plenty of goods. This is where you go to get a blacksmith to upgrade your equipment. It's just an all-around amazing place. Here's the vendor. There's a lot of storyline stuff that happens here. This is a place you will visit time and time and time and time again. You will come here so often. This is your main hub for weapon upgrades. So you go to the blacksmith here. This is very important. This is how you strengthen basically your damage. Alright, so you go here, you go to strengthen, and when you have smithing stones, you can upgrade a dagger or whatever it is that you like, okay? Without the round table, there's only one other blacksmith in the game, and he's only temporary. So you definitely want to unlock this as soon as you can so you can strengthen your character. Number 7 involves the Volcano Hold, how it screws up certain quest lines. Volcano Hold is located right up here. Now, doing the bottom parts, killing some of the bosses, killing Rykard, not the biggest of deals. However, there is a mansion that is located in this area, and when you go there and talk to the NPCs and accept missions from them, it alters and changes the quests in the game to the point where you may not be able to do some. There is a quest here with a crab vendor. You won't be able to do that if you go to Volcano Hold first. Patches. It changes Patch's positioning, so if you didn't buy Margit's Shackle before then, you won't be able to do that. It messes with Ronnie's quest line, which she is located right here for all of you waifu lovers that are into weird rope dolls. Anyway, don't go to Volcano Hold until you have caught up on all the quests and gotten all the rewards that you want. Just right up here on Volcano Hold, and that's my girlfriend's cat. It just, I don't know why it's meowing. I guess it doesn't like tutorials. But do not go to Volcano Hold before catching up on all of your quests, otherwise you'll have to start over, or you won't be able to do it until New Game Plus. Number 8 is using your 4 Belfries key in the wrong order or in the wrong spot. Now let me show you what this is. Okay, and here's the 4 Belfries. I know I can't talk. You get here, you can travel to the 4 Belfries by taking the teleport that's right there. This will put you somewhere up here, then you just go south, and you're at the 4 Belfries. Now, at the top of the 4 Belfries, there's a chest with a key, and you have 3 teleporters that you can use that will all take you to different places. And if you want to glitch the game, you can use what's called a wrong warp to pretty much make your character go where he shouldn't be allowed to yet, right? So, what you do is you only get 1 key right now. Yes, you can unlock more later, but for instance, if I use the key on this statue, it's going to send me to the Precipice of Anticipation, right? So I could go here, use a wrong warp, and then explore that area, which is an area underground. But in my current playthrough, or my save file that we're using today, I basically used wrong warp to access the Crumbling Ferrum Azula, which is an in-game zone allowing me to beat bosses to advance to the end of the game. But let me tell you, if I use the key elsewhere, I wouldn't be able to come here unless I go and get another copy of the key. There is 1 copy of the key that is located very far up on these rooftops on the Crystal Academy. Very annoying and long to get to. Not recommended if you just want one thing. So the 4 Belfries, you can either go get Dragon Magic from the Ferrum Azula, or you can go get like the Mimic Tear, or a few other items. Okay, it's up to you what you want to use to get, but don't just use your key willy-nilly without much thought, or, you know, you really want to plan it out before you spend the 1 key that you get for free on these teleporters. Because if you choose wrong, you either have to go, you know, go questing basically, go dungeoning until you get the other keys, which is going to take you forever, or wait till New Game Plus. Number 9 is taking the long route to get to places. My favorite example of this is getting into the Atlas Plateau, which is kind of a mid-game zone. To get here, you have to be able to activate the Great Lift, but there's other ways to get up here, which the majority of players do for some reason, okay? So what a lot of players do is they'll traverse this little ravine and they'll go through this dungeon area, climb all the way to the tippy top, fight a magma worm, and then they'll be spit out like somewhere over here, and they're on the Atlas Plateau. Sounds pretty cool, right? Or they'll go through the Crystal Academy, get to the bottom floor, get eaten by a virgin abductor. That's a like a weird statue monster thingy. Get teleported into the Volcano Manor. They have to go through all the Volcano Manor and then fight a double virgin abductor boss fight, which will then spit them out, I believe, right here. And then they're on the plateau. Or you can take the easy way, and you can just, at the very start of the game, you can ride right here, open a chest that takes maybe 1 minute to get to. Then you can ride down here, open a chest that takes 1 minute to get to. Then whenever you're ready, you come up here, you activate the Great Lift, and you're done. No boss fights, no trouble. Just ride there, grab the stuff, and you're good. You're all set. You don't have to go through these crazy convoluted ways just to skip opening 2 chests to get here. It's absolutely crazy. There's no reason to take the hard way to get here. Same goes for getting into the capital. There's a way to go through a massive underground labyrinth dungeon, through a cave system, fight multiple bosses, and do these weird catacomb-like tomb warps to get into the capital. Or you go to the front door, you beat up the Draconic Tree Sentinel, you can cheese them with poison. Video on my channel if you're curious. And then boom, you're in. Easy mode, right? There's really no reason to take the long routes or the hard routes unless you're like trying to do 100% completion of the game or something. There's just no point. Number 10 is not using bosses' weaknesses, okay? Now this is kind of a bad example because this gargoyle is resistant to just about everything. However, he has 40% fire resistance but only 20% magic resistance. So if I cast the hardest hitting fire spell that I have fully charged up, we hit him for 836, alright? Now, I don't know of the equivalent to just raw magic damage as far as spells go. But with our strongest possible fire spell, we're going to go ahead and hit him with just Comet, just regular old Comet, see how much we do. Because he is less resistant to regular magic, it should maybe do more. There we go, 1,238. So that is a 50% increase in damage just by using the right spell. So, and that leads to the next point, which will be number 11, which is... Number 11 is not using buffs. Now, you can't always fully buff up for every boss fight, because some of them just charge you immediately, and if you don't have a Mimic tier tank, I've got a video on my channel about that too, if you're curious. You won't always be able to just fully buff up, but in this case, like this gargoyle here, we have all the time in the world to give every buff we could possibly need. So what I'm going to do, because I have my robe and wizard hat on and spell stuff, I'm going to show you how hard we hit just with our equipment before buffs, and then how hard we hit after buffs. So here is a charge attack, no buffs, 1,892. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and get ready and buff up after resetting him, of course, so we can see our true potential damage. Now, for all bosses, you won't always be able to fully buff, but for some outdoor ones or ones you can catch by surprise, you can totally fully buff up, and it will dramatically increase your kill speed. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with Terra Magica, and then we're going to switch to the Rallying Standard, and then hit that. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and do Howl of Shabiri. That's another nice buff. Very, very cool stuff. And then we're going to switch to our staff, of course, switch to our Contagious Fury, Jellyfish Shield, drink our Flask, and then do a fully charged blast here. That's 5,517 damage. That's nearly half of this monster's HP in a single cast. And yes, that is insane. That is like almost 4 to 5 times more damage. But also, I want to talk about damage because that's another fatal newbie mistake that people avoid, and that is number 12. Now, number 12 is not being optimal with DPS, and what that means is people really get addicted to the whole, I can cast one single spell and one-shot a boss or deal tons of damage to the boss. So I'm going to basically show you unbuffed. We're going to do a fully charged Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. One roll away is optimal, so that and this is just a complete luck-based spell. Multiple bolts can hit the front or barely any at all. So we're going to go ahead and do a fully charged cast, and let's look at the damage here. So this is unbuffed, and we nearly killed him with 9,000 damage, okay? So that was a pretty good roll. It won't always happen that much, and it could happen better than that. We could one-shot him, right? So as far as that goes, That's pretty dang good, and it actually makes the example a little more worse than what I'm going to talk about. But essentially, in the middle of a fight, you don't have time to sit here and fully charge this and unleash this like that, okay? What you should be doing is a more optimal, higher DPS, damage per second, more reliable spell. Something that you can spam and forget about, something like Shard Spiral, because this will follow the enemy around, okay? So just real quick, let me optimize my gear here just a little bit. Get the magic stuff back on because I did have my flask set up, and if we buffed, obviously that would have one-shot him. Okay, we would have one-shot him, and that's fine. That spell is basically designed to one-shot. Okay, but again, unbuffed, no buffs here. We're just going to spam Shard Spiral, not even charged casts. Okay, these are just regular. I'm just mashing the button as fast as possible. Okay, and just look at that DPS. Okay, he is basically dead, and. Yeah, he's dead. So there you go. You can see that this is a far more reliable spell because I can roll out of the way, I can continue rolling and casting, and the DPS overall in the long term, much, much higher. So don't worry about the big single target hits, just worry about your overall DPS. And of course, if I buffed this spell, it would have been even more overpowered and even faster. Number 13 is using the wrong summons, okay? You may have a favorite summon out there. Maybe you like the Winged Misbegotten Ashes because he's a cool dude, flies around, you know, shoots bow, whatever the heck, okay? But there is a huge power vacuum when it comes to these summons, and let me talk about it real quick, okay? One of the more popular ones is Black Knife Tish, or Tishay. I don't know how to say this person's name, but essentially this is an assassin that will float around, highly evasive, highly elusive, super dodgy. This thing deals damage over time. This deals maximum percent HP damage to the target. It's pretty hard to kill. It does a very good amount of damage. However, in every test against every boss, it is outperformed by Lahoodle the Headless. Lahoodle the Headless is far more tanky, survives longer, holds aggro better, deals more damage, alright? And there is no reason to use Black Knife Tish over Lahoodle the Headless ever, alright? But with that said, if you have the proper build, then the Mimic tier is obviously the god tier of summons because it copies your own build. Right now, my character is obviously dressed as a wizard, which means the Mimic tier is an awful choice for a summon, and you should not use a Mimic tier if you are in wizard gear, okay? Unless you decide to switch to a tank build and hold aggro while your wizard Mimic tier spams spells. The issue with the Mimic tier is that it will spam spells too slowly for it to be worth being a spellcaster. So you should only ever build or use the Mimic tier in a pure DPS build like a bleed build, a single heavy hitting build like a jump attack build, or for tank builds. If you make like I have a video on my channel that explains how to make an unkillable Mimic tier that can solo the entire game by using a combination of items to keep its health up forever. Alright? Now, with that said, if you want just something to support you, then you have Finger Maiden Theralina Puppet, which will basically consistently heal and buff you. It's an amazing little summon, very good. Compared to these other ones, not so much. If you want to be strategical, you have this one, Latina the Albinaric, who is basically a turret from Team Fortress 2. You just put her down and she stays in one exact spot and will shoot arrows wherever you want. So, for example, this gargoyle fight, which we've already killed, if I wanted to be cheeky, I could take that Spirit Ash, run in here where she has line of sight of the doorway, and then pop her down like right here where she can't be hit, and then lure the gargoyle to the door and just kind of hold block and block all those attacks, and she will gun him down like crazy, okay? So that is another decent choice, alright? But there's there's almost no other Spirit Ashes that are worth summoning. If you just want to do some sort of weird, like, glass cannon build to do as much damage as possible, then you would summon the Stormhawk because that will buff your damage. But it's really not worth it, okay? With everything else, there is only one other good regular summon, that is the Great Shield Soldier Ashes. These are 5 Great Shield skeletons. They don't have the highest health, but they hold aggro amazingly well. They block nearly everything in the game consistently. They are a amazing pick to have. And then you have a special mention here of the Rotten Stray Ashes, or the Rottweiler as I call it, which if you just want to summon this on an outdoor boss that can be rotted, while you just run away, this dog will bite him a bunch, he'll be rotted, and you just wait and collect your loot. Now, another special mention, the Lone Wolf Ashes. This carries you through the early game. This is the counter to Renala. These wolves are great against any armorless targets, which means they have no poise, and these wolves will consistently bite the enemy target, stun locking them, essentially, right? But then again, you have absolute worthless garbage summons like the Spirit Jellyfish Ashes. Even at maxed out, this thing sucks. It'll almost never bleed proc anybody. You have these land squirts, they just shoot poison. They don't move. There's a flower one that does like the same thing. There's a lot of really, really bad ones. There's the nomads. The nomad ashes, they run away. The wandering nobles, they run away on certain bosses. They won't even fight. They're timid. They're cowardly. There's no reason to ever level up or use them whatsoever. So please make sure that you are using the right summons and not the wrong ones. Number 14 is not using consumables. You should absolutely be using your consumables almost all of the time. What do I mean by consumables? Well, if you get poisoned, you can use the boluses here to heal it. Okay, if you're fighting a magic-based boss, you can use this spell-proof dried liver. That's going to give you a tremendous amount of spell negation. Right now, I have 47% magic resist. Let's just go ahead and eat one of these bad boys and see how much I get. Alright, so that brings it to 55%, which may not sound like a lot, but it is a huge amount. These things are super, super helpful. You have all sorts of other things too, like, of course, the boiled crab. I've recommended that many times over. Some other cool little tricks too. If you're in PvP and you want to finish a target off, the fan daggers are really, really good for that. Say you've got a target down to 1 health, he's starting to run away so he can heal. You just load the fan daggers, and these things, you know, you're going to hit a wide area. They come out very fast. You'll definitely finish off your target with that. I have been killed by this many times in PvP. You have the crystal darts, which have a hidden effect where if you fight imps or those giant cat statues, you can throw this at them and it will cast confusion on them, which means they attack each other. Very cool. The kukris cause bleed damage, so if you want to do a ranged bleed build somehow, then there you go. Now, I have made videos on my channel where I explain how you can throw explosive stones off a cliff on a level 1 character and kill a world boss and get the rewards, okay? These things are absolutely amazingly useful. The Bewitching Branch, one of my favorites, okay? This thing is great. If you are invaded, use this on a bunch of giant monsters around you, and guess what? Now it's you versus the invader, and you have 2 crabs on your team, you've got 2 squid monsters, you've got a giant bear on your side, and you just sit back and watch the monsters just eat the invader. I'm going to share a video idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but what I want to do is kind of set up an area in a dangerous zone, right? And bewitch all of the monsters around me, like kind of like go down here and bewitch all of the big lobster monsters, and then use the Taunter's Tongue and wait for invaders to come in and fight me. And they're gonna run at me, and all of the squids and all of the lobsters are just gonna shoot their little death strands at them and kill the invaders over and over and over again, right? Of course, the invader can, you know, target and kill the monsters, but chances are they're probably not going to realize what's happening until it's too late. It's an absolutely hilarious and fun and super amazing item. Now, let's talk about some of the bad stuff, okay? There's a few really bad items here. Any of these drawstring greases, these things only last like 10 to 11 seconds. I don't really know what the purpose of these are, or why you would want to use them. They're pretty bad compared to the regular ones, okay? Fighting dragons, Dragon Wound Grease increases your damage, but I would rather have Bleed or, you know, Frost or anything else, honestly. You have these to heal your mount. I would just use a Flask Charge. The Rainbow Stones, they're pretty cool little RP things. You got the Prattling Pates, those are neat, you know, and all the other things that you can totally craft as well that are pretty cool. The jars are way underwhelming. I was thinking about a video idea talking about jars. The Ancient Dragon Bolt Pot, you can pump this damage up to like 2,000, which is pretty darn good. Very good, actually. These jars have a lot of utility and a lot of use in a lot of different situations. The Roped Lightning Pot, or the Roped Pots, I haven't found much use of yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. The Aromatics, they're pretty darn good too. That's just more buffs, more debuffs. I tried out the one that debuffs enemies' damage, the Acid Spray Mist, and man, it's like, if you're tanky and you use this on a boss, the boss will deal no damage. You just nullify the boss completely for a little while. It's absolutely great, and I've never seen anyone actually fully utilize it. Use your dang consumables. Don't be afraid to spend them. I know I'm the same way. I play RPGs and I have 99 mega elixirs at the end of the game, and I still won't use them on the final boss. Alright, and number 15. I wish I could do that guy's voice. You know the meme, you know the one I'm talking about, is upgrading weapons can be bad. Alright, so let me talk about this one. Whenever you upgrade weapons, alright, that means that you can only be matched against people with equal or better upgraded weapons. So if you have a +1 weapon, you can no longer ever invade someone with a +0 weapon, to my understanding, unless the host has a +1 weapon and it summons +0 weapons, but it's usually the other way around. It's a low-level host and his friends are level 700. Anyway, with that said, there is another trap to fall into. I'm going to go ahead and show you right now, and that is after you beat, Margit? Yeah, after you beat Margit, if you go to the round table, there will be a wizard, and you could tell him, hey, I beat Margit, and he's like, hey, congrats, and he gives you a weapon. And he will give you a +8 sword, a thrusting sword. That person is located on the balcony. Well, he'll be right here. He's not here on my save file, but he's going to be right there. And so don't talk to him if you don't want to get a +8 weapon, which will completely block you from PvPing with people with unupgraded weapons. At the same time, if you kill Patches in this cave here, he drops a +7 spear. So that's another thing to watch out for, because those count as weapon upgrades. Just have it, even if you're not wearing it. Like right now, I have a +25 staff here and a +10 communion seal. So that means I can only PvP against people with, I believe, levels 8 to 10 or 18 to 25, I think is the number. But also, in the same regard, if you overlevel your soul level, for instance, I'm what is this, rune level 713, because I'm using a save file for video editing purposes. I can only be match made against other players of similar level, plus or minus, I think. I don't know what it is at higher levels, but you don't generally want to go over level 120 or 150 for your PvP needs, and you don't want to be, max weapon level. Otherwise, you're only fighting people of similar weapon level. It really can slow down your matchmaking times. Number 16, not backing up your save file. This one is super massively important for many reasons, okay? Save files tend to corrupt during patches. Sometimes your save file just gets scuffed for whatever reason. It's a FromSoft game, it happens. Sometimes you get invaded by, or you invade, a hacker, and he banishes you to the Shadow Realm, where your spawn point is now affixed right over a body of water and you are unable to escape ever. Okay, putting you into an infinite death loop situation. Or maybe you have a nice rune farm that's like kind of over, in this area in Caelid, where there's a nice little dragon that's sick and dying, and you can just kill him over and over and over for 50 to 80,000 runes per kill, and you accidentally let him fully permanently die and get his loot. When that happens, you can no longer farm him for runes. So, of course, you would want to back up your save before doing a risky rune farm like that. Alright, or maybe you have a lot of runes on you. I have 100k on me right now, and maybe I don't want to lose them, so I back up my save. And yes, I know it's save scumming, I don't care. It's my time, it's my life, whatever, right? So you definitely want to back up your save. Maybe you screwed up a quest line. Maybe you accidentally attacked one of these NPCs out in the wilds and killed them, and you scuffed your game, because you really, really, really wanted to go see Ronnie and talk to her and get her ending or whatever the heck, right? You should absolutely back up your save file every chance you get. Alright, and with that said, that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed these fatal newbie mistakes to avoid that all new players do. You should absolutely, do your best to avoid these kinds of things. We're just going to kill a little Mad Tongue Albernus here. Shoot spells at him. There we go, down he goes. I'm a little overpowered for this. Give him a nice teabag. Guys, I'm Soul Benji. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to hang out with me today. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. I make videos every single day on this channel, so come on back tomorrow for another video, and make sure you subscribe, because the algorithm might not show it to you. It's been a little bullyful lately, okay? It's very bullyful algorithm. Also, leave a like, leave a comment, and don't just comment hi. Comment about the video. Comment a question you might have or something related to the video. Don't talk about other games here. Talk about Elden Ring, okay? And also, comment with each other. Talk to each other about whatever it is you want to talk about. Maybe life or happenings in the world. preferably something to do with the video. And of course, if you are financially wealthy, if you're a rich guy with a nice job and you have a big fat paycheck and you want to play it forward to a poor bloke like me who grew up in the ghetto, then I would greatly appreciate if you became a channel member. It's $5 a month. It's like being a Twitch sub, but it's on YouTube. You get access to private, more personal videos. You get access to videos earlier before other people the public gets to see it. Okay, you get all sorts of good stuff, and you have my most greatest gratitude and thanks. And if I ever become massively big on YouTube one day, I'm talking one of those mega-sized channels making tons and tons of dosh a day, I'll definitely pay you back, and then some, of course, you know. But until that day happens, man, you know, I do rely on you guys so that these videos can stay sponsored and ad-free. I'm not shilling you any crappy cell phone, like Raid Shadow, whatever the heck. You know the one. I'm not telling you to buy cheap Chinese audio products, okay? I'm just telling you how it is. I'm not bought or paid by the devs. No videos on this channel, over nearly almost 1,000 videos now, have none of them sponsored, okay? I have not one to be bought by corporations. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Come back tomorrow. I'll see you then. Take care, lads.